right? So this is kind of a silly session here, but the last thing I want to get to is bounce to disk. Bounce to disk, file, bounce to disk. This command here is a command that will generate a mixdown file. Oftentimes, if you want CD quality, it's wave. You can add an MP3. It's interleave, which means stereo. The bit depth should be 16, and the sample rate could be 44.1. So this is for CD quality. CD quality kind of, it's like the minimum quality, but it's still sort of a deliverable sometimes. I would probably nowadays do 24-bit 48K, a little bit higher. It's not going to sound much different, to be honest, but if you're doing, most things are digital streaming these days, so I would probably go for a higher bit resolution. It depends on what you record at as well. So that's my setting there. So I just bounce it. It would render an audio file. But before I do that, there's one little thing I like to do personally with bounces. This is kind of a mock session here. But so it goes to about this far, right? There's MIDI information here. And I want to make a selection from there so I can make the timeline selection or any track selection of just the duration of the file. Right? So either a timeline selection or edit selection will limit the time that's bounced. So there might be empty space here, right? There might be volume automation here where maybe you have a few volume breakpoints like that, and it'll bounce out all this empty space. So oftentimes before I bounce, I make a selection of anything, of the timeline up here or of the track, and just make sure I got that right. Looks good. So I have from the very beginning to the very end, and then I'll bounce. And the bounce will render the file of anything I'm hearing. So anything that's muted, so I'm going to unmute this. So whatever I hear, so I had a little EQ plugin that I automated there. We'll get to that. But whatever I'm hearing, whatever solo, muted, automated is what's going to bounce. It's just important to have a selection. Let's do that one more time. Let's get the selection going because I lost the... Oh, no, it's still selected at the timeline. That's great. So I have my selection up here at the timeline. File, bounce to disk. And I'm just going to go to CD quality audio because oftentimes I'm asking for the deliverable. So wave, interleave, not multiple mono. Wave, interleave, multiple mono will give you two split files. You don't want that. Interleaved, 16-bit, 44.1. That's CD quality. That's good for this assignment. Then I choose the folder where it's going to go. Oftentimes, it's going to go to the bounce files folder in your Pro Tools session folder. It's my last name, AS2 MIDI. Great. Click open. If I want MP3, I'll include that. And offline will render the file. Got to give it a MIDI file name. There we go. It'll render the file faster than real time. So it's 30 times faster. And what are we left with here? We are left with a rendered file. There's Walter AS2 MIDI, bounce files, and it gave me an MP3 as well as a WAV file. There we go. Yeah, so this is probably one of the most important things is getting that bounce file correct. So I just bounced out a CD quality audio. Check out a lot of the information in the lecture notes. All right.